You know, it's funny how often I hear that same quiet sigh in my office, that look in a man's eyes when he stares back at his own reflection and wonders, almost whispers to himself, what happened to the guy I used to be? Because let's be honest, it creeps up on you, doesn't it? One day you're full of that raw, undeniable energy, strong in body, sharp in mind, driven by a fire that just feels innate. And then, almost without noticing the exact moment it shifted, mornings get heavier. That inner drive softens around the edges. You start feeling like a faded photograph of yourself. And here's the brutal truth, the one most men never really grasp until they're deep into that feeling. It's not just age stealing your spark. Not fundamentally. It's far simpler, and frankly, more within your control than you might dare to hope. Your manhood, that deep sense of vitality, strength, and yes, sexual confidence, it doesn't just vanish because the calendar pages turn. It fades because, slowly, often without realizing it, you stop doing the very things that kept it fiercely alive. My name is Dr. Lucy. For over 3 decades now, I've dedicated my practice as a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist entirely to helping men, especially those over 60, rediscover that spark. To reclaim that vitality, restore healthy, robust blood flow, the absolute bedrock of male function, and rebuild that deep, unshakable confidence that comes from feeling like your authentic self again, fully present and capable. And let me tell you, the transformations I witness aren't slow miracles. They're often remarkably swift shifts, reigniting strength, performance, and genuine passion. The kicker! It rarely involves prescriptions or procedures. It hinges on small, consistent daily habits, the kind most doctors glance over in a rushed appointment, the kind big pharma can't neatly package and sell. The uncomfortable reality? The true enemy isn't the number of birthdays you've had. It's inaction. Sitting back, accepting the slow fade. Yet, shockingly, almost no one spells this out clearly for men. Why? Honestly? Because the solutions feel almost too straightforward, too accessible, lacking that complex, expensive allure. But underestimate these 6 daily habits at your peril. They hold the genuine power to fundamentally alter your landscape. Your circulation humming efficiently, your energy levels bouncing back, your mood lifting, and yes, your sexual vitality rekindling. In this space, I want to walk you through each one, step by tangible step. You'll see exactly how men in their 60s, 70s, even sprightly 80s are naturally restoring firm, reliable blood flow, feeling desire flicker back to life, and rebuilding quiet confidence, all without awkward pharmacy visits or embarrassing side effects. And that very first habit. Odds are, you've already done it today, but not in the specific, intentional way that actually feeds your manhood. Stick with me. Before we dive deep, if you're a man over 60 who's truly ready to push back against the fade, to stay physically strong, mentally sharp, and vibrantly engaged with life, do yourself a favor. Subscribe if you haven't and tap that notification bell. It's the simplest way to ensure you catch every single habit, every practical insight, every strategy crafted specifically to help you reclaim what's yours. And if this message resonates, if it hits that nerve, drop a 1 in the comments below. Just a quick signal that you're listening, you're with me on this. If it doesn't quite land today, that's okay too, type 0. Your honest feedback genuinely shapes what I share next, making it more relevant for you. Okay, let's get started with habit number 1. It sounds deceptively simple, almost trivial. You might brush it off, thinking, that's it? Really? But this single foundational practice holds immense transformative power, impacting everything from the efficiency of your blood flow to the very way you carry yourself with confidence. Most guys completely overlook its potential, dismiss it as irrelevant at their age, or assume the window for real impact has closed. Yet, solid, consistent research, including recent studies focusing specifically on vascular health in aging males, confirms this habit, done right, demonstrably restores circulation, sharpens cognitive function, and yes, even reignites those natural morning erections that signal robust health. Let's talk about walking. But not the aimless shuffle to get the mail. I want to show you how to elevate it into a potent daily ritual that actively rebuilds your manhood from the ground up. 1. The walk of power, movement that fuels manhood. I vividly recall Joseph, 72, walking into my clinic, shoulders slumped, eyes downcast, his spirit visibly worn thin. His voice was barely a murmur, tinged with embarrassment. "Doc," he confessed, I don't feel like a man anymore." He wasn't lamenting wrinkles or gray hair. It was that deeper essence, the dwindling energy, the fading physical strength, the loss of that internal drive. His core sense of masculinity had quietly slipped away. When I probed about his daily routine, it was sadly predictable. Hours upon hours of sitting, stillness dominating his days, zero intentional movement to jolt his body awake, get his blood pumping, or clear the mental cobwebs. Here's the crucial thing most men miss. One of the most potent acts to reclaim your manhood is astonishingly basic: putting one foot deliberately in front of the other. Walking isn't just casual exercise or a way to kill time. It's among nature's most effective tools for restoring vital blood flow precisely where it matters most for male vitality. The science is unequivocal, and recent 2023 research published in journals like the Journal of Sexual Medicine reinforces this. A regular walking regimen, particularly for men navigating their 60s and beyond, significantly improves overall circulation, lowers blood pressure, reduces the insidious risk of heart disease, and yes, dramatically enhances erectile function. Why? It's beautifully straightforward biology. Your penis cannot function optimally without strong, unimpeded blood flow. And that blood simply won't move vigorously without you moving. When you walk, especially at a purposeful, steady pace for even just 10 to 30 focus minutes daily, you activate your body's innate circulatory pump. Arteries expand and relax, your heart muscle strengthens its beat, and oxygen-rich blood surges more freely to every corner of your body, including the intricate network of vessels feeding your manhood. It's like sending a powerful wake-up call directly through your veins, reminding every cell, we're still here, we're still capable, we still have purpose. Joseph didn't need a gym membership, fancy gear, or to start training for a marathon. He just needed consistent, purposeful motion. We began simply, 10 minutes each morning, right after breakfast, just a deliberate stroll around the block. After a week, he naturally added another 5 minutes, then another. Within 2 months, Joseph was confidently striding 2 miles every single morning. The change wasn't merely physical. He stood taller, his voice regained conviction, a genuine smile returned. He came back one morning, looked me in the eye, and said, "Doc, it's like I got a piece of myself back." That's the profound power of movement. That's walking transformed from exercise into a daily ritual of reclaiming your inherent strength. What many men fail to grasp is that walking's benefits extend far beyond just getting the blood moving. Consistent walking actively boosts natural testosterone levels by helping reduce belly fat, a major site for estrogen conversion, and improving insulin sensitivity, both critical factors for male hormonal balance. It stimulates increased production of nitric oxide, that miraculous natural compound your body uses to relax blood vessel walls, directly enhancing erectile quality. It also fundamentally strengthens your legs and hips, major muscle groups essential not only for balance and avoiding falls, but also for physical control, endurance, and yes, confidence during intimacy. And let's not forget your brain. A brisk walk clears mental fog like nothing else, sharpens memory recall, and provides a potent mood boost, all essential elements feeding directly into overall confidence and sexual vitality. Fascinatingly, research out of Stanford even shows that walking can spike creative thinking by up to 60%. So if you've been feeling stuck, physically lethargic, mentally sluggish, emotionally flat, sometimes the most powerful reset button is lacing up your shoes and choosing to move forward. This habit costs absolutely nothing, demands no special equipment, and meets you exactly where you're at today. Start ridiculously small if needed. Walk during TV commercials, pace your backyard, walk to the mailbox and back twice. The absolute key is unwavering consistency. Because walking does more than just preserve muscle and bone. It sends a continuous, powerful message to your mind and spirit. I'm still here, I'm investing in myself, and I'm absolutely not giving up. And that internal declaration echoes powerfully through every facet of your life. So if you're wondering where to even begin, how to start clawing back that feeling of being you again, the answer is beautifully simple. Stand up, take a deep, intentional breath, and walk. Let each step resonate as a quiet affirmation. I'm still strong. I still matter. My story isn't finished. But here's the real kicker. the part that often surprises men. As foundational and potent as walking is for circulation and core confidence, it truly only sets the stage. What you choose to put into your body next, what fuels your heart, your brain, and crucially, your hormonal balance, can either powerfully amplify the progress you're making or silently, steadily undermine it. And honestly, most men are completely unaware of how much their everyday eating patterns are actively working against their vitality. That's why golden habit number 2 might genuinely shock you, because it isn't about restrictive dieting or deprivation. It's about eating strategically, consciously, for the vibrant man you still are deep inside. 2. Eat like your erection depends on it. Because frankly, it does. I think of Edward, 68, a retired electrician with a soft voice and a face etched with weariness. He didn't come to me with acute pain or a dire diagnosis, but with a quiet, profound sense of fading away. "Doc," he admitted, "I'm not exactly sick, but I'm not really living either. My get up and go got up and went. My mind feels fuzzy, and, well, things just aren't working like they should down there." When we discussed his typical daily food intake, it mirrored what I hear from countless men. Sugary cereal or white toast for breakfast, a processed deli meat sandwich for lunch, maybe a frozen dinner microwaved at night. Quick, convenient, familiar, but a silent saboteur of his vitality. The hard truth most men miss is this: every single meal, every snack, is either actively fueling your circulatory system and restoring your manhood, or it's insidiously starving it. Your body isn't some simple engine running solely on calories. It's an incredibly complex biochemical symphony. Every bite you take sends direct signals to your hormones, your blood vessels, your heart health, and yes, undeniably, to the tissues of your penis. When your diet is dominated by high sugar, high sodium, heavily processed pseudofoods, you're doing far more than just adding pounds. You're triggering chronic, low-grade inflammation that stiffens your arteries, damages delicate blood vessel linings, and critically interrupts healthy blood flow to the very areas that define male vitality. And let's be crystal clear, blood flow is everything. Without strong, flexible, unrestricted circulation, erections weaken, energy plummets, recovery slows to a crawl, and that essential spark dims. Your manhood doesn't just rely on your heart beating. It relies profoundly on the quality of fuel you provide to keep that heart pumping powerfully and those vessels clear. When I gently suggested Edward try shifting his approach, he was hesitant. "I'm too set in my ways, Doc, too old for diet fads," he sighed. But I clarified, this wasn't about a punishing diet. It was about strategically reclaiming control, not primarily about cutting things out, though some reductions happen naturally, but consciously bringing the right, powerful fuels in. He agreed to try. We started incredibly small and manageable. We added beets to his lunch salad, packed with natural nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide, directly helping blood vessels relax and expand. We stirred spinach into his morning eggs, rich in magnesium, vital for testosterone production and nerve function, and vitamin K, key for vascular health. A small handful of walnuts here for omega-3s, a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil there for healthy fats and polyphenol. He swapped his afternoon soda for water with a squeeze of lemon, simple hydration making a world of difference. No calorie counting, no starvation, just deliberately incorporating real, nutrient-dense foods that nourish the male body as it was designed to be nourished. Just 3 weeks later, Edward called me. Not for a prescription refill, but simply to say, "Thank you." His voice had a lightness I hadn't heard before. "I feel lighter," document. Not just on the scale, but in my head, in my mood. And, he added with a hint of regained confidence, things are definitely starting to wake up downstairs too. That's not a fluke or a miracle. That's fundamental human biology finally being given the right tools to function optimally. The undeniable truth is, the most potent support for your sexual health isn't locked in a pill bottle. It's sitting right there on your plate, in your fridge, at the market. Leafy greens like kale, Swiss chard, and peppery arugula help naturally optimize blood viscosity and support endothelial function, that crucial lining of your blood vessels. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines deliver those essential omega-3 fatty acids proven to protect arterial health, reduce inflammation, and support cognitive function, all interconnected with vitality. Whole grains like oats, quinoa, and brown rice provide steady energy, stabilize blood sugar crashes that drain energy and mood, and offer fiber to reduce inflammation. And pure, clean water. It's the essential solvent keeping blood volume optimal and everything flowing smoothly. One of the most significant mindset shifts older men can make is to start viewing food not just as comfort or convenience, but as potent, active medicine, a living tool you wield daily. Because when you consciously eat like your manhood depends on it, and it profoundly does, the changes ripple outward. Energy surges back, confidence rebuilds, and yes, genuine desire often rekindles. I've witnessed this reversal too many times across decades to dismiss it as coincidence. The science robustly backs it, and the lived experiences of men like Edward loudly confirm it. And here's the beautiful, often unspoken bonus. When your body feels truly nourished and supported, your mind clears like fog lifting. You naturally find yourself wanting to move more. Your sleep quality often improves. You engage differently with people, less irritable, more present. You start embodying a version of yourself that feels genuinely good to be around. You smile spontaneously. You say yes to opportunities. You begin genuinely looking forward to the day ahead, not just enduring it. Edward is just one face among hundreds I've guided who genuinely believed their vibrant years were irretrievably behind them, until they changed what they consistently put on their fork. Because the fuel you consciously choose day after day fundamentally determines the intensity of the fire burning inside you. If your sense of manhood feels like a flickering candle, the right foods can be the steady wind that fans it back into a strong, warm flame. But while smart nutrition powerfully fuels the system, it doesn't single-handedly build the critical foundation. For that deep, structural resilience, you need something else entirely. Something a vast number of men tragically ignore or dismiss until they face a crisis point. I'm talking about genuine strength. Not just the brute force to lift a heavy box occasionally, but the functional strength to carry your independence, your unspoken confidence, your posture, your balance, and yes, your physical capacity for performance and intimacy. What happens when your body progressively loses the muscular scaffolding needed to support the very circulation you're diligently working to rebuild through walking and eating well? That slow erosion can silently sabotage everything else. That's exactly what we need to confront head-on, and the solution might be simpler and more accessible than you imagine. 3. Train your muscles to protect your manhood, the unseen shield. Harold, 74, sticks vividly in my memory. A retired high school coach, he was once the kind of man whose very posture commanded a room. But when he walked into my office, he was hunched, moving with painful slowness, gripping the armrest tightly as he lowered himself into the chair. "I'm just not myself anymore, Doc," he said, his voice thick with frustration. "Can't do the things I used to. My strength is leaking away, and it's messing with everything." What Harold was describing wasn't merely the inevitable march of time. It was accelerating sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. And what countless men fail to grasp early enough is that this decline often starts subtly in their 50s, silently chipping away at energy reserves, balance, fundamental independence, and yes, absolutely, sexual vitality and performance. You see, muscle isn't just about vanity or lifting heavy objects. For a man over 60, muscle is active physiology. Muscle mass is intrinsically linked to healthy blood flow. It acts as a metabolic engine and a circulatory aid. Muscle supports healthy hormone levels, particularly testosterone. Muscle is functional performance, both in navigating daily life with vigor and in the intimate expressions of connection. And when your muscle mass and strength significantly fade, your circulation efficiency drops. Natural testosterone production often slows further. Your metabolism downshifts, making weight management harder and energy levels lower. The body that once readily responded to desire and intimacy with reliable strength and endurance begins to falter, leading to frustration and withdrawal. I laid this out plainly for Harold. I explained sarcopenia, how this natural decline kicks into a higher, more damaging gear after 60 if it's not actively, consistently challenged. It's rarely a sudden collapse. It's a stealthy thief. One missed step becoming a near fall, one flight of stairs leaving you winded, an extra grunt needed to rise from your favorite chair. But when that weakness starts impacting the bedroom, the confidence to initiate, the stamina to perform. That's when many men finally feel the acute sting and seek help. I told Harold something I passionately tell every man in my care. You are categorically never too old to rebuild meaningful strength. You might not reclaim your 30-year-old bench press max, but your muscles retain an incredible capacity to adapt and grow when given the right stimulus. Even gentle, consistent resistance work can dramatically slow, halt, or even reverse the tide. We started laughably simple, meeting him exactly where he was. Chair squats, using his sturdy kitchen table for balance. Wall push-ups every single morning before breakfast. Light dumbbell curls using full soup cans from his pantry. No intimidating gym environment, no complex equipment, just purposeful movement integrated into his existing space and routine. Harold was deeply skeptical initially. "Doc, can this really move the needle?" he asked doubtfully. 3 weeks later, he didn't need to ask again. He was standing noticeably taller, navigating stairs without conscious effort or fear. He walked in with a grin I hadn't seen before and said, "I feel more alive. And my wife, she's definitely noticing the difference." That's the undeniable power of rebuilding muscle. It speaks volumes without uttering a word. As lean muscle mass increases, it delivers systemic benefits crucial for male vitality. It enhances overall blood flow by improving cardiovascular efficiency and vascular health. It improves insulin sensitivity, stabilizing energy levels and mood throughout the day. It actively boosts the natural production and utilization of testosterone. No pills, no patches, simply by signaling powerfully to your endocrine system, "Hey, we're still building, we're still vital." But the impact transcends pure biochemistry. It's profoundly psychological, deeply tied to identity. When you start feeling physically stronger again, capable, resilient, you naturally carry yourself with renewed assurance. You regain a tangible sense of control over your body, and with that, over aspects of life that may have felt like they were slipping away. Confidence resurfaces. Intimacy shifts from a source of anxiety or wistful memory back towards a realm of possibility and pleasurable engagement. You stop shrinking from touch. You start leaning into connection. You shed the fear of being seen as diminished. You begin to reclaim the quiet pleasure of presence. I've had the privilege of guiding men well into their 80s who reclaimed strength levels they hadn't experienced since their 50s. Not through brutal, unsustainable workouts, but through consistent, intelligent, purposeful movement, just a few focused minutes most days of the week. That is the sustainable formula. You don't need to sprint or strain until you vomit. You need to move deliberately, progressively challenging your muscles, sending that continuous biological message, "I'm investing. I'm not done yet." So ask yourself honestly, when was the very last time you felt genuinely strong in your body? Not in some nostalgic flashback to youth, but right now, in your present reality. If that feeling feels distant or foreign, understand this: it absolutely does not have to be permanent. Rebuilding foundational strength might very well be the master key to restoring that core part of yourself that once felt capable and unstoppable. But here's the critical caveat: strength alone, impressive as it is, isn't the complete picture. In fact, without this next essential component, all your hard-won progress, the improved circulation from walking, the clean fueling from smart eating, the rebuilt resilience from strength training, can unravel surprisingly quickly. Because no matter how strong your muscles become, if your nights are fractured, restless, and devoid of true restoration, every other system begins to degrade. And tragically, most men are completely unaware that their most significant gains in vitality are being systematically stolen from them while they sleep. Let's reclaim that stolen ground. 4. Sleep like a man who values his strength. The nightly reboot. Raymond, 66, sticks in my mind. Recently retired, he walked into my office looking utterly drained, beyond tired, into that territory of profound depletion. "Doc, I don't get it," he confessed, frustration evident. "I'm eating cleaner, walking most days. I even dusted off my old weights twice a week. But I feel constantly drained. Can't focus worth a darn, snapping at my wife over nothing, and forget about anything happening in the bedroom. Zero drive." I asked him one pivotal question: "Raymond, how's your sleep?" He let out a long, weary sigh. "Terrible. Just awful. Up 3, 4 times a night like clockwork. Toss, turn, stare at the ceiling. I wake up feeling more wrecked than when I crawled into bed. What Raymond, like so many men, completely overlooked is this bedrock truth. Sleep is the non-negotiable cornerstone of male vitality. Without deep, consistent, restorative sleep, all the walking, clean eating, and strength training in the world operate with one hand tied behind their back. Sleep isn't merely passive rest, it's your body's intensive nightly repair shift. It's the prime time when growth hormone surges, essential for muscle repair and fat metabolism, when testosterone is predominantly synthesized and released, when your brain detoxifies and consolidates memories, and when your entire nervous system resets. When sleep is chronically disrupted or shallow, everything downstream suffers. Circulation falters, testosterone plummets, cognitive function clouds, emotional resilience frays, and sexual performance inevitably wanes. As men age, quality sleep often becomes more elusive. Not because we need less, adults generally still need 7 to 9 hours, but because our natural circadian rhythms can become more fragile. Our pineal gland produces less melatonin, the sleep hormone. Stress, often poorly managed, keeps cortisol, the stress hormone, elevated at night, directly antagonizing sleep. The deep, restorative stages of sleep, slow-wave sleep and REM, become harder to achieve and maintain. But here's the empowering news. Sleep architecture can be significantly improved naturally, without relying on sleep aids that often leave you groggy and don't address the root causes. With Raymond, we focused on reshaping his evening routine and environment. A strict digital sunset, no phones, tablets, or TVs after 8 p.m. The pervasive blue light emitted by screens actively suppresses melatonin production, tricking your brain into feeling alert. Introducing 10 to 15 minutes of gentle, static stretching or yoga poses before bed, not for fitness, but to release physical tension and signal his nervous system that it was time to shift into rest and digest mode. Transforming his bedroom into a sleep sanctuary, cool, around 65 degrees Fahrenheit per 18 degrees Celsius is ideal for most. Pitch dark, blackout curtains, eye mask if needed, and dead quiet, earplugs, white noise machine. I joked it should feel like a cool, calm cave designed solely for deep restoration. Hydration timing, sipping water steadily earlier in the day, but significantly tapering off 2 hours before bedtime to minimize disruptive nighttime bathroom trips. Addressing the evening nightcap, he thought the whiskey helped him pass out, but alcohol is a major disruptor of REM sleep, the crucial stage for emotional processing and certain aspects of cognitive restoration. Crucially, establishing a fixed, non-negotiable bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends, to anchor his circadian rhythm. Within just 10 days, Raymond reported a noticeable shift. He described feeling more present, his thinking was clearer, his mood was noticeably steadier, and his motivation was creeping back. But the moment that truly lit him up? "Doc," he said, a mix of wonder and relief in his voice, "I woke up with a solid morning erection this week. First time in, I can't even remember how long." Here's the physiological reason. A significant portion of your daily testosterone is produced during the deep stages of sleep, particularly in the first half of the night. Without sufficient, uninterrupted deep sleep, testosterone production plummets. Research starkly shows that men averaging less than 6 hours of sleep per night often have testosterone levels comparable to someone a full decade older. That's not just aging, that's sleep deprivation actively robbing you of a core component of your vitality. And the damage extends far beyond hormones. Chronic poor sleep ramps up systemic inflammation, worsens insulin resistance, harming energy and blood sugar control, clouds cognitive function, brain fog is real, and places significant strain on your cardiovascular system. It's not merely about feeling tired. It's about the slow, insidious degradation of the very systems that make you feel vibrantly you. Prioritizing deep, restorative sleep actively reverses this damage. During quality sleep, your glymphatic system kicks into high gear, flushing metabolic waste products from your brain. Stress hormones like cortisol naturally decline. Tissues repair and rebuild. You don't just wake up less tired, you wake up fundamentally repaired and reset. Raymond's turnaround wasn't a fluke, it's a pattern. I've seen countless men walk into my clinic convinced their fatigue, low drive, and brain fog are simply getting old, when the root cause is often profound, correctable sleep debt. Restore that foundational pillar of deep, restorative sleep, and the body often responds with remarkable resilience. Energy rebounds, desire resurfaces, performance follows. So tonight, start treating your sleep with the same non-negotiable respect you'd give a critical doctor's appointment. Prioritize it fiercely. Protect that window fiercely. Reframe it. Don't think of sleep as the end of your day. Think of it as the essential, active beginning of your nightly restoration process. Because a man who sleeps deeply and restoratively doesn't just wake up with energy. He wakes up with a quiet, potent sense of power and readiness. But what if I told you that even with strong sleep, clean nutrition, consistent movement, and rebuilt muscle, one absolutely critical piece still dictates how truly alive, vibrant, and fulfilled you feel day in and day out? And it's something vast numbers of men quietly neglect, often dismissing it as unimportant or soft. It's not physical, it's profoundly emotional and psychological. It's human connection and mental engagement. For many, it's the missing catalyst in the formula for sustained, holistic vitality. What happens when you focus not just on healing the body, but also on actively feeding the heart and challenging the mind? Let's explore this vital territory. 5. Revive your manhood with mental fire, the spark within. Thomas, 70, a former math teacher known for his razor-sharp intellect, sat across from me a few years back. His gentle manner was still there, but something fundamental felt dimmed. His speech was slightly slower, his words didn't connect with their usual quick precision, and a distinct heaviness shadowed his eyes. "I'm starting to forget things, Doc," he admitted, concern tightening his voice. "Names slip away, appointments vanish from my mind, conversations I just'd feel foggy, and I can't concentrate like I used to. It's like..." He paused, searching for words, "like I'm slowly slipping away from myself." What Thomas, and so many men, completely overlook is the deep, intricate link between your cognitive vitality and your core sense of manhood. When your mental sharpness blunts, your internal spark often dims in tandem. You begin to feel detached, less in command of your thoughts and emotions, less engaged with the world swirling around you. And this cognitive emotional drift inevitably spills over into every domain. Your relationships feel more distant, your mood can dip, and yes, your sexual energy and responsiveness often wane. Men frequently laser focus on the physical pillars, strength, circulation, hormones, all undeniably crucial. But what truly integrates and amplifies everything is the health and activity of your mind. It's your command center, your perception filter, your emotional rudder. When you stop actively stimulating it, when you stop challenging it with novelty and complexity, when you stop feeding it with curiosity, your entire system, physical and emotional, begins to dull. Mental sharpness isn't just about recalling where you left your keys. It's about feeling fully present in your life. It's about emotional responsiveness, the ability to be grounded in the moment, engaged in conversation, and connected to your authentic self. With Thomas, I asked one pivotal question. When was the last time you genuinely learned something new, something just for the challenge and joy of it? He struggled to recall, so we started small and accessible, committing to just 10 minutes of reading something engaging each morning, not dense textbooks, but perhaps a thought-provoking article, a chapter of historical nonfiction, or even a well-written novel. Downloading a crossword puzzle app on his phone for short, daily mental stretches. Enrolling in a beginner's Spanish class at his local community center. A latent desire he'd shelved for decades, thinking it's too late. The shift was gradual but profound. Within weeks, Thomas returned with noticeably more animation in his expression. "I feel clearer, Doc," he reported. "Sharper, more tuned in, like a radio finally finding the station again." But what truly surprised him, and, he added with a hint of rediscovered vigor, "I'm actually feeling more desire again, like something switched back on inside." That's the potent neurochemical reality. Challenging mental activity actively stimulates the brain's reward pathways, triggering the release of dopamine, associated with motivation, pleasure, and reward, and serotonin, key for mood stability and well-being. These are the very same chemicals intricately involved in sexual response, emotional bonding, and the feeling of being vibrantly alive. When you actively engage and challenge your brain, you stimulate your entire nervous system. When you cultivate curiosity, you nurture a sense of youthful engagement. When you commit to learning, you foster growth, intellectually, emotionally, and physically. I've witnessed this pattern consistently over decades. Men who prioritize staying mentally engaged through reading, writing, thoughtful debate, learning new skills, languages, instruments, tech, crafts, even strategic games, consistently report higher levels of overall life satisfaction, confidence, and a palpable sense of being in the game. This directly translates to sexual confidence and responsiveness. Why? Because a sharp, active brain facilitates faster, clearer communication between your mind and body. The neural pathways involved in arousal, sensation, and response remain more efficient. Even seemingly simple acts like regular, meaningful conversation are powerfully therapeutic. Talking with friends, sharing stories, actively listening, asking questions. These social interactions keep vital neural networks firing. Networks deeply linked to emotional fulfillment, empathy, and yes, intimacy. A man who isolates himself, perhaps to protect his pride or avoid perceived vulnerability, inadvertently starves his nervous system of essential stimulation. Over time, this cognitive and emotional isolation takes a measurable toll on both physical and mental health. So my constant refrain is this: read the book. Tackle the puzzle. Take the class. Finally learn to play that guitar gathering dust. Challenge your brain with the same intentionality you challenge your body. Because your brain retains an incredible capacity for growth and adaptation, neuroplasticity, well into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. It doesn't vanish. It simply requires consistent engagement to thrive. The more you actively engage with life, with ideas, with people, the more robustly life, energy, and connection flow back to you. Thomas didn't just regain focus. He rediscovered his voice. He reconnected with his wife on a deeper, more meaningful level. Laughter returned. And his statement stays with me: I feel like I finally came back home to myself. So ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you deliberately did something new, something challenging, something purely for the mental engagement and personal growth? Because staying mentally alive and curious isn't some frivolous luxury. It's a fundamental necessity for sustained vitality. It's one of the most potent shields against that quiet fading of your essential manhood into the background hum of existence. But while a sharp mind is your essential command center, and mental stimulation keeps its lights bright, there's one final, profoundly human habit that often gets tragically sidelined. It's arguably the most emotionally potent key to staying young in spirit and resilient in body. It can't be purchased, quantified in a lab, or swallowed in pill form. Yet, without it, even the strongest, smartest men often find themselves shrinking inwardly, their vitality dimming despite physical health. This might just be the most crucial habit of all. 6. Strengthen connection, the lifeline of vitality. Walter, 78. His visit wasn't prompted by a specific physical ailment. He sat down and said, with a quiet intensity that filled the room, "Something inside me feels hollow, document empty." Medically, he was stable. He still managed his daily walk, ate reasonably well, slept adequately. But he described his days as long stretches of monotony, silence, and a growing sense of detachment. He'd lost his beloved wife 3 years prior. His children lived far away, and his primary conversations were with the television. "I can feel myself pulling away from everything," he confessed. "Retreating. And I don't know how to stop the drift." What Walter described wasn't just surface loneliness. It was a deep, quiet erosion of spirit, a sense of existential disconnection. And what vast numbers of men fail to comprehend is that this type of profound isolation has devastatingly real, measurable consequences for the male body. Chronic loneliness and social isolation chronically elevate stress hormones, like cortisol, weaken immune function, increase systemic inflammation, damaging blood vessels, and significantly disrupt sleep architecture. But where it cuts deepest is its impact on the heart, both literally, increased cardiovascular risk, and metaphorically. It's a direct path to depression, crushing fatigue, and a pervasive loss of interest in activities that once sparked joy, including intimacy, closeness, and desire. For men navigating life beyond 60, Genuine connection is not a luxury. It's a biological and emotional imperative. We are hardwired for social bonds. Startling research shows that chronic loneliness can increase the risk of premature death by as much as 26%, comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Yet, unlike smoking, loneliness often hides in plain sight, masked by routine, buried under stoicism, or disguised by the mistaken belief that real men endure solitude silently. With Walter, medication wasn't the answer. I offered a different kind of prescription: purposeful human connection. My suggestion was simple: join a local book club. Not necessarily to become a literary critic, but purely to be physically present among people, to hear voices, share space. He resisted initially. "I don't have much to say anymore," document. "I just sit there." My response was firm: it's not about performing or talking initially. It's about being seen. About hearing other human voices, feeling the energy of a room. 2 months later, Walter returned, and tears welled in his eyes, but they were tears of connection. "They remembered my name, Doc," he said, a genuine smile breaking through. "Actually remembered it. And last week, I laughed. Really laughed. First time in months." He'd started lingering for coffee after the meetings, chatting casually about the books or not, sharing snippets of life. Nothing earth-shattering, just simple, shared moments of human presence. Yet, something fundamental within him shifted. He found himself walking with more purpose, choosing healthier foods almost instinctively, sleeping more soundly. And he shared words that resonate deeply. "I feel plugged back in. Like I'm part of the world again." That's the profound secret too few men acknowledge: how intrinsically your entire vitality, physical energy, mental sharpness, emotional resilience, sexual spark, depends on feeling connected. Not just superficially to others, but meaningfully to yourself and your place in the world. When you have people who acknowledge you, who listen, who share moments with you, it does far more than lift your spirits. It actively rewires your brain chemistry. It boosts oxytocin, the powerful bonding hormone that lowers blood pressure, reduces stress reactivity, promotes feelings of trust, and enhances well-being. It stabilizes heart rate variability, a key marker of nervous system health, supports robust immune function, and sharpens mental clarity. But perhaps most crucially, it delivers a visceral, daily reminder: you exist. You matter. You are seen and valued. And connection doesn't demand grand gestures. It might be a regular phone call with an old friend, a standing coffee date with a neighbor, volunteering an hour a week at the local food bank or library, playing chess or cards at the senior center. Even brief, daily exchanges with the cashier or mail carrier, if done with genuine presence, contribute. The core ingredient is consciously making space for others in your world, however small that space starts. Men often reduce aging to a checklist of physical declines. But after decades walking alongside older men, I've learned a deeper truth. While the body may change gradually, the human spirit, when starved of connection, can fade with alarming speed. And no supplement, exercise regimen, or perfect night's sleep can replicate the life-giving power of feeling authentically connected to another human soul. Walter's transformation isn't an anomaly. I've witnessed men visibly light up, their posture change, their eyes brighten, simply from knowing someone was genuinely glad to see them. You can meticulously follow every physical habit, eat impeccably, supplement wisely, walk 10,000 steps daily. But if you're walking through life emotionally isolated, a core part of you remains profoundly hungry. It's that deep hunger, that emotional void, that can silently leach your strength, your drive, your very essence, without ever weakening a single muscle. So if you felt even a whisper of isolation, I challenge you, reach out today. Not tomorrow, not when you feel like it. Send that text. Make that call. Sit beside someone in the park or cafe. Be fully present in the interaction. Because authentic, holistic vitality is more than just blood flow and muscle. It's the vibrant current of connection. And sometimes, the simplest, bravest act of showing up for another person is the very spark that reignites your own life force. Now, you've journeyed through all 6 golden habits, powerful, accessible tools proven to reignite strength, confidence, and that deep sense of vitality. But how do you translate this knowledge into lasting, tangible change? How do you weave these habits into the fabric of your daily life without feeling overwhelmed, without quitting when motivation dips, and without losing sight of the hope they represent? That's the crucial bridge we need to build right now. Stay with me. This is where possibility transforms into lived reality. Conclusion. Your next step awaits. You've just explored 6 transformative habits, each one a powerful lever I've witnessed pull hundreds of men over 60 back towards their vibrant, confident, capable selves. Daily walking to ignite and sustain healthy circulation, the absolute lifeblood of vitality. Eating real, strategic foods to nourish your cells, support robust blood flow, and fuel your entire system optimally. Rebuilding muscle through consistent, purposeful movement to protect your independence, boost metabolism, and fortify hormonal health. Prioritizing deep, restorative sleep to allow your body its essential nightly repair, hormone production, and neural reset. Actively stimulating your mind with learning and engagement to keep your cognitive command center sharp, curious, and connected to life. And nurturing genuine human connection to feed your emotional core, reduce stress, and remind you that you matter profoundly. These aren't abstract theories plucked from self-help books. They are battle-tested, science-backed, real-world strategies that demonstrably bring men back to life. I've sat across from men who genuinely believed their best days were irretrievably lost to time, men who hovered on the edge of surrender, only to watch them rediscover their spark, their strength, their selves by making the simple, courageous choice to begin. And that's the master key. You don't need perfection. You don't need to overhaul your entire existence overnight. You simply need the willingness to start. Right now, exactly where you are, you possess everything necessary to take that next step. Because regardless of the number on your birth certificate, your body remains astonishingly responsive. It's still listening, still capable of remarkable adaptation, still yearning to function well when given the right inputs. So, let me ask you directly, with the urgency this deserves, which single habit will you commit to starting today? Pick just one. The one that resonates most deeply, or perhaps the one that feels most manageable right now. Commit to it fully for the next week. Let this commitment be your first, powerful signal to yourself. I am still here. I still value myself. My story is still being written. Because your most vibrant, fulfilling years are emphatically not relics of the past. They are waiting patiently, powerfully, for you to choose them, to step into them with intention. Now is the moment. Go claim them. If this message resonated, if it sparked that flicker of recognition or hope, please take a moment, hit that like button. Share this with one friend, one brother, one guy you know who might need to hear this truth. Leave a comment below. Tell me which habit you're choosing to start with today. Your action inspires others. And if you feel moved to support creating more content like this, free, accessible guidance specifically for men over 60 who deserve to feel strong, healthy, and vibrantly alive again, consider making a small contribution via the link in the description. Every bit helps us reach further, touch more lives, and amplify this crucial message. The journey back to yourself begins now. Take that first step.